Are you sitting comfortably? Are you sitting comfortably? Are you sitting comfortably? Then I'll begin.
And now for something completely different.
What is happening? Dreamers, brothers, sisters, woo crew. Hope everybody is doing well and fine this evening. It is episode 12 of Decoding My Dreams. It is February 28th, 2025. Energies are high. Holy smokes, energies are high. This shit is bananas. BANAS. You feel me? Seriously, if you're not being drowned in crazy energies right now, big ups to you, and I'm glad that you're doing well and rising above it. It's been pretty intense my way. Been a minute since my last update here, but for no lack of dreaming, it's just been trigger after trigger and just sort of writing some PTSD stuff. And sometimes when things go bad, you just kind of want to burn the whole place down, and nothing seems to matter. But pushing through that BS and finding my passions and still dreaming, still got things to talk about, and off we go. I can't help but think of a quote by Terence McKenna, world famous psychonaut, ethnobotanist, bioassay extraordinaire, philosophizer. Something he said, it's just going to get weirder and weirder and weirder. And finally, it's going to be so weird that people are going to have to talk about how weird it is. You feel it? I feel it. I don't know if we're in time wave zero now. That's way above my pay grade, but the rate and amount of novelty in the world at the moment just seems unprecedented. What timeline are we running today or this week? Things are changing so fast and in an unexpected way. I don't know what the world is going to look like 2 years, 4 years, 6 years from now. It is interesting, if nothing else. So we are in a new moon right now. It seemed like a good time for me to try and rebalance and ground as best as I can. I had a new moon salt soak last night, a mixture of Epsom salt, pink salts, some cannabis oil. My head wasn't super in the game, so I fell back on a YouTube guided meditation. If you're not super comfortable in doing your own meditations, or you just don't have the mental strength to do it at the time, there's so many amazing guided meditations on YouTube. It's really just a matter of finding a voice that really sort of speaks to you, that you can listen to, that you feel you dig the message. So yeah, I went with one of those last night. It was a 1 hour chakra balancing meditation. I find those are really great. They take you from your root up to your crown, give you some color modalities to help cleanse those chakras. I'm extremely wiped out afterwards and today. It takes a lot of energy to do, I find, but it's for the greater clearing those channels, putting those things, negative things you don't need to carry forward anymore, refreshing all those energy centers and brains, and it's important to do. So I feel like I am better for it, but it is kind of funny. The necklace I was wearing, I wear some energy balancing, enhancing jewelry. This particular necklace has a lot of hematite with different colored stones for each of my chakras. And as I finished the meditation, it was getting out of the bath, pop, off it went, and beads flying everywhere. It's always fun when you hear them all pinging off the cast iron bathtub. So I just put this one together. It was actually last new moon, so this one literally only lasted a month. To me, that's a definite, significant synchronicity and sign of how intense the energy is. I find when I'm at very high levels of energy, that's when these things tend to pop. The stones can't handle any more mitigating and regulating, and it's time to reset the stones, reground them. I usually like to put them in salt water or under the moon, and then I'll rebuild my necklace or bracelet or whatever it is. So yeah, pretty symbolic that right at the end of my chakra balancing meditation, it popped. It's almost like as I was pulling colors for each chakra to heal my centers, it's almost like I was pulling, so you can see the yellow ones in my hand there. It's almost like I was pulling yellow from any source I can imagine, and part of that was probably pulling from the stones that I was actually wearing. So anyway, new moon, time to plant some fresh seeds, do some new rituals, create some new protective devices. We have some interesting astrology in play. The new moon's in Pisces with Saturn present. We also have Neptune in play, so deep, watery, dreamy secrets being revealed, creative visions coming to life, major transformation around creative visions and ventures. We have asteroid Atlantis in the mix. That's kind of interesting. Personally, I've been on a bit of a rabbit hole about Atlantis, specifically looking at the Antarctic as a potential Atlantis source. So it's kind of interesting that that should synchronously come up at the same time. We also have a star called Scat that's in play, and that's a wish star. So new moon manifestation, make your dreams into wishes, into reality. Just really focus that mind and make sure that you're bringing about the things that you want to bring about. Now is the time, people. So I think that's a little bit it on the energy front. Definitely expect potentially more watery events, tsunamis, earthquakes, volcanoes. I think that's still all very much on the table. So I guess dreams is the thing that we came to talk about here today and every sesh. I won't be sleeping. So the first dream that I thought I would mention, I had a couple of days ago. It's one of what I'm calling my, I guess you could say, an elemental demon dream. I've had a few of these now from past episodes. You might remember I mentioned a fire demon and a dark water demon. Well, this time it was an electricity demon. I guess why I would... Excuse me, sorry. I got a frog in my throat. So why I would consider this a demon dream, usually when I have these, they're so intense. There's some sort of monster creature that if my dreams were a video game, we're talking boss monster stage, like this is a boss battle. I don't usually linger in the dream too long. I'm usually out pretty quick. I usually wake up soaked, covered in sweat, heart racing, all the autonomic responses off the charts. It takes me a little time to get over it, and then they stick with me for the day and days after. They always seem very, very more significant than a standard dream entity encounter. I don't know what it means, but basically, I guess to describe the dream, it was like there was something in the attic. I say the attic because there was an effect on the ceiling, and if it was on the roof, you wouldn't see it because there's an attic. So it must have been in the attic, but it could have been the roof. But it was like this demon was walking around up above, almost if you could imagine a dragon, I guess. And as it dragged its tail along, there was this electrical like sizzle, crackle, as the tail made contact and dragged along the ceiling. So you'd see this blue electricity, lightning in the ceiling, moving along as this heavy thing moved around up above. So it moved back and forth, and electrical crackles and the blue lightning. And I think that's when my subconscious said, nope, I'm out of here, and I ejected. Pretty intense. I don't know what it means. I'm wondering if it... I don't know. I would be curious if any major geological sort of energy-related events happen in the near future. Earthquakey, solar flare, electrical, geomagnetic kind of weirdness. And I guess that goes into all sorts of geophysical anomalies, volcanoes, earthquakes, tsunamis. Maybe it was ground breaking up as the energy that I was seeing, as opposed to physical electricity, or maybe it was both. So I don't know what that means, to be revealed, but I did also have another, what I'm calling demon dream, about 2 days prior. Excuse me, folks. And it was about, 2 days earlier. It was a demon. I felt like it was a demon, but it was in a fake human flesh suit. It was a very badly done human. It was just pale, white skin, no hair. You could tell underneath the skin was this seething, demonic black tendrils, worms, slime, slithering mass that was hiding in this human form, this flesh suit. So it very much felt linked back to my dark water demon that was festering under the machine and gaining strength. I almost wonder if it could be related, and now it's sort of gained human form. I mean, it could be symbolic of so many things, but I often think that these big dreams operate on many levels. They have a personal meaning, they have a collective meaning, they have a meaning for your neighbor, or like whoever happens to hear it that connects to it. I don't know. That's where dreams are super fascinating and multi-layered and complicated. But yeah, this the flesh suit dark water demon that I had two nights ago, I had to do a lot of sort of tiptoeing around it and pandering to it, and stroking its ego, so I could eventually move in. And I started choking it, and I was trying to kill it. And I remember thinking, like, this is my one chance. I can't fuck this up. I can't tip it off. I can't give any mental tells. I can't think it. It's just all due, because I only have one shot at this. So that's interesting to unpack a little bit there.
And don't fear the nighttime, no, because the monsters know that you're divine.
What did the demon's dreams mean? TBD, more time will tell. They're intense and scary as they, not only disrupt a day, but can potentially rock a whole week. So they're worth looking at and thinking about. So the next dream that I wanted to talk about, or it's almost more of a phenomenon, but I call radio voices. I've heard a few people talk about this over the last week, so it feels somewhat synchronistic and worth talking about. I'm going to feel really crazy for mentioning it, because, I don't know, hearing voices kind of opens yourself up to crazy, right? But yes, I digress. So every night as I'm falling asleep, I hear what I call radio voices. I feel like it happens at a very specific brain frequency as I'm just drifting into sleep in the hypnagogic state. I think there's probably a high alpha, a lot of theta at play. And it almost feels like it's something I can tune in. it sounds like there's a clock radio in the other room that's kind of in between stations. You know, it's kind of pulling in some music, it's pulling in some talk radio, some news, many layers kind of all scattered. When I first started, I've been hearing it for years. When I first started hearing it, it did sound more musical. I could often hear beats and instruments, and like, okay, I don't need to do fake instruments for you, but I could hear little beats and sounds and rhythms. I feel like over the last few years, I still hear the musical notes, but now I'm hearing much more. It's almost like being in a loud hall or a bar. Lots of people are talking, murmuring, just many voices overlaying each other. And then occasionally you hear these pops like, hey, oh, you, and it's, or even your name. And it can be a little unsettling, I guess, maybe would be the word. It sometimes wakes you up. I'm already awake, but it just makes you more alert, and then the voices stop. And that's where I feel like the whole phenomenon is almost like a radio that you can tune in. I've been focusing lately to try and hold it as long as I can, just to see what I can pick up from it and learn from it. Sometimes I fall asleep really quickly. Sometimes I get scared by something I hear, and then just I'm way too alert. So I'm 0 to 100 and then back down to 0 kind of thing. Super interesting phenomenon though, and I know I'm not the only one that has it. Otherwise I'd feel probably more crazy about talking about it. It's pretty weird to talk about, I admit. I don't know if I'm tuning into electrical phenomenon, like literally hearing radio stations, because the signal is so strong in our atmosphere. I literally have an AM receiver in my brain. Something that's happening in that state that's tuning in those frequencies, I think, where they're coming from. Is it man-made? Is it dimensional? Is it the afterlife? I'm kind of open to all and everything, and it doesn't even have to be just one thing. I mean, all these different things are happening in a large wave of frequencies, and our brains have to do a very hard job of slicing through all the BS and just giving us a very small portion of the whole waveform, so that we can get through our day. So maybe when I'm drifting off, I am tuning into more of these other waves that are around us all the time. If you told someone a couple 100 years ago that you could make a band perform in your house right now, they wouldn't believe you, but you turn their radio on and suddenly there's a band, a world away performing live coming through on your radio, and you're like, how is that even possible? It just boggles the mind. Everything's waves and frequency, and yeah. I digress. So radio voices. Anyone else have radio voices? They've been with me a long time. I don't think they're going anywhere, so it's worth playing with. So today's dream was particularly stuck out more. I've been having a lot of my regular dreams lately, the usual, what I call my mundane default dream, where I'm running from hotel to cabin to strange downtown to place I need to get out of, to student house, dormitory, packing and forgetting items, and yada, yada, yada. So a lot of this was going on, and at one point I was looking at a map, and I was like, I could read the map, like I was reading names and streets and places, but nothing matched anything I could recognize. At one point I thought I was looking at Pacific Northwest BC, but then I was kind of looking at California, and when I thought I was looking at California, it could have been BC, but I was really wanting to be in Southern Ontario, so I was mixing up multiple places. I was looking for landmarks. I was looking at lakes, at lake names, at street and highway names, city names, anything that I could recognize, and I couldn't recognize anything. Nothing made sense. So while I could read the map, it was no help at all because nothing was familiar. Yeah. And obviously, if you're paying attention Maps and borders and geopolitics are a huge topic right now. So no doubt that that's going to work its way into my dreams as artifacts. Yeah, this did take a little bit of there was a second scene, and it was actually the second scene that I woke up to feeling really heavy, and it was only the map scene that I remembered earlier while sort of thinking about this episode. And that's the funny thing about, dreams, is once you start digging in, you can start unraveling deeper and deeper, and that can be both the good and the bad of it. You can't put Pandora back in the box, but remember, there's hope in the bottom of the box. So yeah, the second phase of this dream, I was manning a border. It was a small rural border. I don't know where I was, and it's not political, but it was a zombie invasion that was happening. It was almost like a video game where you have your spot and you're just waiting for the zombies to come in and take them out. So as a zombie started coming in, I went beyond the wall. I had 2 swords. It was pretty badass. I chopped its head off. Pretty intense, not gonna lie. But in the process of that, more people came and followed me out. And suddenly I had become a bit of a villain in a sense, because I had endangered a lot of people by breaking the protocols. It seemed like me going beyond the wall was inviting danger. I thought I was just doing my job, but little did I know other people were following me out there because they thought I was in danger. And now I had effectively put a bunch of people at danger, or in danger, that needlessly, because if I had just stayed behind the wall, which I guess was my duty, and just wait for things to happen, I guess everything would have been fine. I don't know. In the dream, my job was to take care of this problem. I saw it coming, so I jumped on it. But it does make you think your actions do affect others. So sometimes you need to think about the things you do and how they may affect those that you care about. Food for thought. There's no shortage of symbolic narrative here. Again, I don't have a lot of opinion on the borders, the border topics. Living near one of the largest, or the largest undefended border in the world, it's scary times to think that it may not always remain that way. And let's hopefully peace will prevail. I don't see having to ever defend borders in my life, and I sure would hope I don't have to defend the borders from zombies or real monsters. So let's leave it at that, and do our best to find love, live in love, love those around us, love the things we do, live in love, live in passion. When you spread that vibration love, I know it sounds cheesy, but spreading the love of vibration moves us all forward. Living in fear and hate puts us all backward. Live in love, share your passion. Until next time, my dreamers.
Love the life you live, so you can live the life you love. Try to get along, and everyone forget.
Peace.